Have you ever read a poem that completely changed the way you see the world? Not just a poem that you liked, or you thought sounded beautiful, but one that shifted something inside you, that made you look at things differently. Some poems don't just stay on the page, they slip into your thoughts. They rewire the way you think, and suddenly you're looking at the world through a whole new lens. Today, I want to share 3 poems that did exactly that for me, and maybe they can do it for you too. Hello my friends, Gary Goers and fellow poets, welcome back to the channel. Poetry has the power to reshape the way we think, to show us sides of things we never considered before. And sometimes, just a few lines can stay with us forever. I want to share 3 poems that completely changed my perspective. Maybe they'll change yours too, or maybe you already have a poem like that in your life. If so, I want to hear about them in the comments down below. But first, let's dive into these 3. Okay, the first poem is Bluebird by Charles Bukowski. Bukowski is one of those poets that you either deeply admire, which I did once upon a time, or you struggle with. For me, the admiration completely shattered when I saw that infamous interview where he kicks his partner mid-conversation. That moment, unfortunately, told me everything I needed to know about the kind of man that he was. But, separating the artist from the art, Bluebird is a standout poem for me. Bluebird was one of the first poems that I came across when I finally gave myself permission to explore poetry a bit more. And it showed me something important. People carry a hidden tenderness, even if they bury it beneath a hardened exterior. There's a bluebird in my heart that wants to get out, but I'm too tough for him. I say, stay in there. I'm not going to let anybody see you. It's the admission of vulnerability from a man who built his career around being a raw, detached cynic. And it made me realise poetry isn't just for the openly emotional, the romantics, the scholars. It reaches everyone, even those who refuse to admit they have a softness inside them. If you haven't heard this poem read aloud before, there's a fantastic reading by Tom O'Bedlam here on YouTube that really adds a whole new depth to it. Hearing it that way, the words settle differently. It's how I discovered this poem. The next poem, Surfaces by Kay Ryan, is one that I recently discovered but has quickly become one of my favourites. At first glance, it's a poem about, well, surfaces. The things we stand on, touch, lean against. It's the skin of the world. But then, the more I sat with it, the more I realised it's not just about surfaces. It's about how we experience reality, about how much is going on underneath the surface that we never even think about. Surfaces serve their own purposes. It is they that tend to the limits and keep the larger forces contained. We don't think about how integral surfaces are to our being, the way they hold us up, separate us, protect us. And if you zoom out for a second, it's true about life itself. How much happens beneath the surface of the people we meet? How many emotions, struggles, dreams are there that we never truly see? This last poem completely shifted the way I think about time, and it's one that I've spoken about a lot on the channel. To a Poet 1,000 Years Hence by James Elroy Flecker is one of my favourite poems of all time, and it made me realise just how fleeting life is, but also just how unbreakable the human experience is across centuries. The poem speaks to a poet in the distant future across time, and it makes me think, how much have we really changed as people? We still question, we still create, and we still wonder. Poetry connects us no matter how many years pass. Since I can never see your face and never shake you by the hand, I send my soul through time and space to greet you. You will understand. There's something incredibly humbling knowing that the centuries pass but human nature stays the same. We write, we feel, we try to make sense of the world, and long after we're gone, someone else will do the same. It made me realise our time is limited, but poetry, well, poetry endures. What these 3 poems have taught me is that poetry is not just language, it's about perspective. It's about seeing the hidden tenderness in hardened people, noticing the details in the world which we overlook, and understanding that no matter how much time passes, we are not alone in our thoughts. Poetry gives us a new lens to look through, a way to understand the things we might never have noticed before. And that's why I believe that poetry is essential. And now I want to hear from you. What's a poem that completely changed your perspective? Drop it in the comments down below and let's talk about it. As always, if you enjoyed this video, please hit that like button. It takes only a few seconds, it's completely free, but it does really help me. Let's grow this channel. And if you really like poetry content here on YouTube, then definitely smash that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and if you can, maybe even consider becoming a channel member. That would be very much appreciated, and it would all go towards bigger and better content for you. Poetry has so much to teach us, and if you're looking for another poetry related video, hang around. I've got quite a few on the end screen that I'm sure you're going to love. My name's Adam Gary, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you down in the comments section below.